Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bagadon, Stock Market Caddy, and we have ourselves another volatile day. Beautiful, beautiful trading markets. It's Wednesday, October 19th at 1 o'clock. And I'm going to invite you to hang out with us a little bit and watch a swing machine. I'm going to let some folks maybe slide by. We've added, quite a few followers on YouTube. And we want to say thank you. It's your opportunity to watch and to ask questions. I'm not going to talk and chat the whole time, but I will come back and narrate in a moment. We have a few more people populating what Swing Machine is doing. Swing Machine is we've had it for years now, not just 6 months, not 6 years, but a long time. It helps us. It's our flagship product. It helps us to stay on the right side of the market in conjunction with other tools that we use, right? So you can use just Swing Machine, but we can also use other tools. And so we're happy to review. In fact, let me just do this right now on a 5-minute basis. Swing Machine at 11:30, an hour and a half ago, is $1,600 on the ES futures contract. Micro 160, 10 futures, 16 grand. NQ 1210, 1210. It's not even 110, less than an hour, 1,800, 1210, 1210, 900, almost at the grand. The Russell has been really signaling risk off since 6:35 a.m. The Russell is an indicator in and of itself. Notice the 5-minute on the VIX, 1210. And you might be saying, what kind of crap is that? What do you mean they all went off at 1210? I thought this was a market of stocks. Yeah, okay, maybe in Jim Cramer's world, but not in the real world. These markets have been commoditized. Everyone else, I hate to say it, but the retail crowd, the retail America, they have been sold a bill of goods. They are out to collect your money. And then they're using machinery to extract cash out of these markets. We're playing the game that they created. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm going to be back in a moment or two. You're welcome to visit the website. You're welcome to give me a call, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Could be weekday, weekend. I'm okay with that. Have a beautiful life. Don't have to travel anymore. Don't have a boss. I kind of do, but that's gotta be careful with that one. I do. Household boss. We no paperwork to speak of. 813-758-8263. Any questions you can put in the chat function. And again, you can text me, you can call. You want me to plug in a stock? You want me to plug in a market? You want me to plug in an interval so you can test and validate real time? Maybe you have a stock that you bought or sold on a particular time frame. If you know what you were doing, we'll plug it in the Swing Machine and compare. Happy to do it. Enjoy. We'll be here and back. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. And thanks for stopping by. Boy, it's cold in Tampa today. Whoo, turn the air conditioning off. Man, I think it's about 75. after after having a summer, like, not trying to rub it in, we had a very, very hot summer, like 98 every day. So it gets down to like 75, 76. We're like, whoo, turn on the electric blanket, get our willies on. It's cold. It really does. It feels cold. Of course, Ted loves it. Let's take a look at things. I am Bagadon at Stock Market Caddy. Today is October 19th. And everyone's calling the market's made a bottom, the market's made a top, we're gonna crash, we're gonna rally, we're gonna do this. Oh my God. It's the only thing I can say, is that if you learn to trade, if you can learn to accept a certain bit of uncertainty in your life and a little bit of risk, you stand the opportunity of taking control over your life. Good afternoon, Tina. And this whole thing, this whole thing of the financial industry, IRA accounts, I'm not going to pass judgment on financial planning, I guess, but man, is it self-serving. And, this idea that, people in their 20s and 30s should not be taking any risk and just going through life and planning, for the last 10 or 15 years of their life is so dishonest. It's so dishonest. Susan and I don't have any children, but if we did, and if we, had, and I have nieces and nephews, I'm always telling our nieces and nephews, for the love of Pete, try something. I'm not talking about trading. I'm just talking about life in general. Learn to accept some uncertainty in life. It's not meant to, I don't think it's meant to be just, a cakewalk. If you can learn to accept some uncertainty in life, you will begin to feel so alive. You will. And you learn to welcome that uncertainty. I thrive on it. Now, not just from a trading standpoint, right? But I don't want to talk about me, and I don't want to talk about any, personal, but I'll just say that, Susan and I always challenged ourselves all the way through, and we still do, and we will until whenever. At whatever age, you're not too young, you're not too old, but to sit back, when you're in your 20s and dollar cost average into Verizon and planning out, a targeted date fund and going through life without ever taking a risk, without ever trying to start a restaurant or some sort of a store or something, is just such an anathema to me. And we're here for those folks that want to challenge themselves. We're not going to give you, an exact roadmap. We will certainly give you guidelines, but we're here to try to help mentor you and to try to help you get to where you want to go. And it's going to be in a different place than me and than every other member that we have. You're going to be in a different place in life. You're going to have different risk capital. You're going to have different time. You're going to have a different trading personality. But boy, can we say, I think can save you so much time, so much aggravation. And so let's just take a look at swing. I'm going to color her red today because we're red. The first thing that we do with our members, and we have a gentleman going to maintain his privacy, and he's in the Q school right now. So we ask him on a 5-minute basis, we ask him to do this. we ask them to look at the VIX first on a 5-minute. And if the VIX is long, we ask them to, whoops, that's too fat for me. And I think this will look better. And to mark it up, get engaged, understand what's going on. So at 12:10, the VIX starts trending up. Well, that's not so good. That is not so good if you're long the market. Why? Because either the VIX is forecasting or the VIX is responding to fear in the market. And let's look at the 5-minute. Now let's be consistent. The 5-minute on the ES. This is today, and it went short at 11:30, a little bit before that. So that may have responded. If you took that trade, you weren't looking at anything else. You weren't listening to anything else. You weren't thinking about anything else. You're up $1,200. And then look at this. Here's the NQ. This happens all the time, all the time. 12:10. What a coinky dink. At exactly the same time as the VIX. 12:10, it triggers short. You're up $1,200. Huh. And 12:10, short, the Dow. You're up $700. Now, this one has been short all morning. This, we teach our members, is the one also to watch, like the VIX, because the small caps are an appetite for risk. That was short since 6:35. If you took that one, you're up $2,000. So if you've been in there this morning trying to buy, maybe struggling. And we'll get oil. So we got, and then we'll come down to gold. I'm not sure why. I don't ask myself why. It just is. We trade the here and the now and the here. And that's up 550. And then oil, and think we got the right contract there. I'll double check it. Doesn't look like it's moving. Did they roll oil? You got to keep up on oil. And I haven't been trading oil because oil rolls month to month. So let's check that current contract here. CME oil contract, which one they're trading here. Now, see, we monitor 5 to 7 markets, but you know, I don't trade all 5 to 7 every day or even every week. No. So it looks like I might have. No, I think we're okay. That is a weird code. I want oil. Let me just double check here. Energy. And no, we're on the CLZ. So that's why it looks a little bit stunted. CLZ 22. It trades the front month. So you got to really stay up on your oil contract. You're trading it. There it is. So it's doing all right. And let's just double check on the gold. I think we got the right one there still. And gold has gold does not like the strong dollar at the moment. And we want to go to the metals, CME specs. And let's take a look. Gold is, I think we're okay. Yeah, GCZ. And gold is every few months, and you have to kind of nose in. So that's kind of where we are. That's how Swing Machine has us positioned. We're having a pretty nice day. We hope you're having a good day too. Tina has a good day every day. Tina, we got to get you in here. You got to let us know. But a limited number of licenses. So we have a gentleman, really nice guy, smart. I'm gonna learn a lot from him about probably a lot of other things other than just trading. And he is underway in his Q school. It's 3+ weeks. Now it isn't 3 weeks to the day. It's 3+. We work around. I understand. I do. I should probably explain this more in the website, but the reason why we say 3+, 3 weeks is a lot of time. But you know, I just think it's the responsible thing to do. Um, we get emails all the time. Can I buy that HFT program? And I have to say no. Nope, nope, nope. Not going to sell individual programs. It wouldn't be the responsible thing to do. Because if you don't know, I'm truly saying, I just know there's going to be folks that they buy it, they have an expectation, they don't know how to trade, they don't know how to keep profit factor, they don't understand, and then they buy it for whatever, and then they get all nasty or whatever. I could just anticipate that. So I want to spend before anyone buys anything, and you can't buy it. It's at least they go through a Q school. 3 weeks is a long time, and you got other responsibilities, family, another job. So we say 3+, and I will work around your schedule. I'm in a good place. I don't have to travel. I don't have paperwork. I'm in a beautiful place, and I'm doing exactly what I want to do. So it's 3+ weeks, and at the end of that 3+ weeks, it's kind of an introductory situation because you get to see what you can do, and whether or not the question everyone has, can these programs really help me? And you'll have that question answered in 3 weeks plus. So we're seeing here on the 1 minute, we're getting a little bit of a rip. Okay, I've got to step aside for about 30 minutes or so. Enjoy. And we'll leave this. Actually, I'm going to, I'll leave it marked up and we'll be back. Enjoy. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And so what's taking place? We can see this, right? The 5 minute is still short, the 5 minute interval. The markets are ripping against that short, and you can see it on the 1 minute, on the 1 minute. And 8 minutes ago, if you took this trade, you're up 250. 8 minutes ago, if you took this trade, you're up 350. 7 minutes ago, you're up 200. 8 minutes ago, you're up 200. Do you know what type of trade that is? Do you know? And why don't we change? I thought we would change that. We did change the oil. That's the December contract. Boy, oil is pretty still, huh? That is a counter trade. Those are counter trades, and they're frequent. We get a lot of them, right? Um, please understand, I'm not giving out trades here, trying to just show you what is possible, right? And we're not in here every day like, oh, gotta get a trade on, gotta get a trade on. I see these people like tweeting out, oh man, we were in the trading class today. And um, yeah, it's a counter trade. Yes, exactly, Josh. A counter trade, a mean regression trade on a small level, on a small level. And what we're doing here, though, is we're trying to give you some insights to what Swing Machine Plus is and what it is not, and who we are and what we're about. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to plug anything in. I do want you to know, right, Josh, I don't recognize you, so you're seeing us for the first time. I'm not from Wall Street. I'm not a broker. I'm not a financial planner. We haven't been doing this for 6 months. We haven't been doing this for 6 years. My wife and I have been trading Swing Machine Plus as well as now up to 90 different programs mechanically and robotically for now 20, it's scary, 20 years on our own. And yes, I'm an older guy because before that, I had a career for 20 some odd years. So my career started in 1981 teaching surgeons of all things how to do surgery with advanced surgical stuff, right? I spent much of that time with a company, a division of Johnson & Johnson called Ethicon Endosurgery. But I've always been interested in the markets. And quite frankly, you may or may not want to know this, but your surgeons are probably more interested in the markets than they are in surgery too, although they do love surgery. And my wife, Susan, during that time, we were very fortunate in life, and I married up. Susan worked for IBM in Lotus Software during that time. In the early 2000s, I sat down with Susan, and Susan had done nothing on the markets. She had no interest. I took care of it. I did it. I did the IBD. I did the vector vest. I did all that stuff, and it was fine. All right, we did just fine. But after the .com, and we got hit, took some punches. We knew it was coming. We knew. I sat down with Susan. I said, Susan, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. It just got to the point where it kind of where it is today. The individual stocks, to me, it's just an absurdity. So Susan said, okay, well, what are we going to do, Don? What's your plan? What are you thinking? And I said, Susie, I said, we can continue down the road that we're on. We had some fiduciaries and stuff. But quite frankly, I wasn't impressed, right? I wasn't impressed with them. I didn't, and I said, or we can take total control over total control. And I mean, we had control, but total control, fire them, get rid of them. I think one guy was, him and his family were taking trips to Greece on us. Every time I'd call him, he'd be on another trip, and putting us in this mutual fund, that mutual fund. So that's what we did. And but I said, what I want to do, this was the dream. And I didn't know I was going to go here, and I described this on the website. But the dream was to build a systems approach to trading the markets, something that was objective, consistent, and that we could repeat. And what I said to Susan was, I had spent all this time with surgeons, right? And I was in scrubs. I didn't touch patients, but I was with them all the time. And one of the things that they do, they're very, very good at what they do. And they're surgeons. They don't do, they don't wing it, right? They don't come in, you don't go into, with a surgeon to put in a total knee and he doesn't, I think today I'm going to do it a little this way, or I'm going to do it a little that way. No, he does exactly the same thing every patient. My job was to try to, in a nice way, and over time, you had to build a trust, right? They had to, they wouldn't invite you into their surgical suite if they, thought you were Yahoo or something. I'm not going to do that. But I had to get to know him and understand. And I'm not a surgeon, but I was very well trained. And I would be trying to maybe change one little aspect of his surgical technique to do what? To get so that he could get a better outcome for his patient, get a better outcome for him, for the hospital for which he worked. And that was not, necessarily an easy thing, because, you can just imagine, I had many surgeons say, Don, you please understand, this is my livelihood. These are my patients. I mean, so this is, and they were very, very thoughtful, very, very thoughtful, very, very patient, very, very slow. They just don't make changes. I use the words, they wing it. They don't wing it. They don't. None of them. Some are better than others, but it's like everything else. So I said to Susan, I said, wouldn't it be wonderful? I said, these people are winging it out their ass. I'm sorry, financial people. I was not impressed with any of them. None of them. I'm still not. None of them. Even though I listen to a lot of the economic people and stuff, but I wouldn't give them a nickel of my money to manage, not a lick. And but I said, what if we could develop a surgical approach? Now, we're not talking about stock market caddy, right? We're talking about our own trading, our taking our own, all our funds. You're taking total control over it and firing them all. And so, that decision, was going to impact not just my life, but Susan. So we, had to make sure that we were, in alignment. And Susan said, we discussed it. And so Susie hadn't been involved but was going to be involved, right? So she had left IBM and Lotus. She was teaching, still does, yoga and spinning, and had a beautiful, we both had a beautiful life, but I was still doing the surgical stuff. So what we set out to do was, I was to take a 6-month sabbatical from where I was. I was in a position to do that. I had every intention of going back because I loved surgery. I do miss it. And I was to set out to help Susan and to teach Susan how I had been trading the markets. And also need to understand, prior to 2000, you really couldn't do what we wanted to do or what we're doing today. The technology wasn't there. The brokerage services were not there. Part of the .com was, you were not allowed to short stocks. You just couldn't short them at all. So it's hard to believe, right? A round trip at Merrill Lynch at the time for a trade was like $300 in and $300 out. Imagine that. So it was just different, but it was coming. It was coming, and I knew it was coming. And I said, this is the time. We got to commit ourselves to doing this. So we set out. We made a lot of mistakes. We were with some different, I said, we really need a platform that we can use. And we didn't find TradeStation first. We went to other things. Some terrible, some that are still there. Some have gone out of business. There are some still out there. And they were like toys. I'm like, this isn't it. This isn't it. This is not this. It just, I wanted a basically a surgical tool, right? The things that we brought into surgery were just damn good, right? I mean, they're surgical tools. They work all the time. There's no downtime. There's no no, errors, right? So I wanted that, and I was really, really frustrated. And then I came across, TradeStation, and so we were very slow. And Susan was a little reluctant to do it because we had, it's like, oh man, we got to learn all that. Yep, Susan, we do. Oh boy, we're gonna have to learn how to do all the coding. Yep, we're gonna need to do that too. And so we did. Now, I do want you to know, as a member to us, you don't have to learn how to code. But if you like to code, if you do, we don't discourage it at all. The things that ultimately we send you are encrypted, but we will, you can certainly, I don't teach coding because I'm not a coder by trade, by profession. So, we joke about this all the time. We do have members that are professional, they're software engineers, right? And they'd probably, giggle at how long it takes me to do certain things, right? But I've grown to really like coding, right? I didn't know what it was about. So one of the things that we came to TradeStation about was that they had their own coding language. And it was going to enable us to do what we needed and wanted to do. So that's where we started. And we made a lot of mistakes, made a lot of errors, and, we can go on and on about that. But ultimately, in this particular product that you're looking at, it's called Radar Screen. This is unique to TradeStation. Nobody else has this technology. Now, they don't present it to you in this fashion. We took their tool, Radar Screen, and coded it for us. Now, this does not use any of the traditional things that you are using on a chart. It doesn't. Moving averages, MACDs, stochastics, and stuff like that. Some of that has a place, but much of it doesn't, right? It's just really a lot of garbage in our view. But what Susan was able to do, Susie would ask me, we've been together since we were 17, right? So, we've just grown up together. Susie's older than me by 6 months, so but I married up. And she's also very smart with math. She scored better than me. I tell the joke about IBM. She got in, and I wanted to work for IBM early on. I couldn't get in. This was in the day when IBM was IBM, and Susan got into IBM. And so she's very smart. So she would, but back to the trading, she would ask me these questions about trading because she was seeing it with fresh eyes, right? Because I had never described it. And I would describe something, and then she would ask me these questions. And they were annoying questions because I didn't have the answers to them. Why are you asking me that? So she was seeing everything from a math point of view. That's the only way I can describe it. And I wasn't. I was kind of like a visual trader. And so I'm like, why are you asking me that? And I'd think about it, and I'd sleep on it for a couple of days. I'm like, okay, yeah, it does kind of make sense. And so it really was a team effort, and it was really, really fun doing it. And what we ultimately wanted to do, we wanted to build a tool whereby we could just come in and look at one thing and see how 5, 6, 7 markets are positioned on whatever interval of our choosing, ideally without even looking at a chart. Because if you're trading a stock, you're trading options, which we were doing a lot of, we weren't doing futures a whole lot early on, but we knew that if a rising tide raises all boats, a lowering tide lowers all boats, that if we knew what the markets were doing, we would have an edge, right? So that's what we set out to do. So this just didn't come out of the ground as is now, all right? It was a development. It was a lot of trial and error. And I can describe to you what's happening. Swing Machine is looking at price in a math way, and it's looking not at price exactly where it is, and it's looking at price in packets of information, packets of price, what Susan called nodes. And so that's how it came. And as we plugged it in and really started to work with it, it was just really, really consistent from market to market, interval to interval. I'm like, man. And so then we began to work from there. In the beginning, in the well, no, not in the very beginning, like for a long time, we didn't even have a purse calculation. We didn't even calculate the purse. That came from a member, um, Logan, and said, Don, I'm having a great time. I really wish you could give us the purse calculation. And I'm like, I don't know if we can do that. And but we did, and it was a great addition. But we haven't changed it much. We've added just a couple of little things, but we protect it jealously. So if you belong to some people and they sell you this, they sell you that, and they've had like about 20 updates or 30 updates, and in 30 days, this is we just don't mess with this. And won't. When we added the plus to it, that this portion over here was the plus, and we kind of consolidated, but that probably took about a year before we were prepared to give it our blessing. So we're very slow. So the idea is we look at swing machines. So when we look here, this is the key column here, where the entries are being signaled. This T, we used to call this yardage. I probably should rename that a little bit, long T, short T. But this tells you, it's a time reference. So this tells you that 24 1-minute segments ago was that trade. So in 24 minutes, you're up 400. You'd be like, well, Don, why don't you just rely on the time? Because it's 2:22 now. It's 2 o'clock. Why not just look at the time? We just thought it's easier to look at the number and know that this is 25 1-minute segments or 36 5-minute segments ago. It matches the time, as opposed to have to look at the time. We give you the time if you want it. You can hide these columns, can hide the date, if you want to save space. This fits perfectly, by the way, on a 32-inch monitor. It's just perfect. But you got to look at the time, then you got to come over here and you got to say, okay, what time is it? It just seemed cumbersome. So this is the idea. So give you, for instance, on the 5-minute, it was 36 5-minute segments ago. It was at 11:30 that it first triggered short. Now the price is rising against that short, so it's ripping. It's a rip on a 5-minute interval. The 1-minute went long 25 minutes ago against the 5-minute short, which is a counter trade. And even right now, it's dipping, right? It was up even higher. We teach in the Q school in the beginning, we want to make sure there are only 4 possible ways to trade. Trend follow long, trend follow short, counter trend short, counter trend long. That's it. There's only those 4. So this column is built around those scenarios. And then we teach, which we can't do here, we teach our members in the beginning we're teaching them to take the 1-minute basically in the direction of the 5. And there are some nuances to it. It takes just a couple of days. We track them. We have a new member that is in the Q school right now, and that's where he is right now. We'll even be for a few days. And what we don't want them taking the counter trades. Our experienced traders will take them. He will take them down the road. I will take them. But we will, in the beginning, we want them taking the trends, so that when you see swing machine, maybe later today, in a total block of green and totally running, we want them in those trades. And that's how you get into those trades. So there's a little bit of finesse. Please understand, this isn't a red light, green light system. This isn't a holy grail, you're going to win on every single trade type of thing. It certainly feels like a holy grail sometimes. It certainly looks like it is, much of the time, but I don't present it that way. You must have good acquired trading skill. I'll come back to the surgical environment. Intuitive Surgical, symbol ISRG. Um, they have a trading robot. They do, or not a trading, I'm sorry. They have a surgical robot. And if you drive around your major city in the United States or any part of the world, you may see hospitals with billboards saying, come to our hospital, we have robotic surgery, right? Sounds really sexy and everything. What the public don't know is there isn't a robot, D2, R2, from Lost in Space. I'm dating myself, that's going to do your surgery. A surgeon's going to sit in that robot, and I've sat in it, not on a patient, and operated that robot. Intuitive Surgical describes their product as a surgical assisted robot. The operative word assisted, and that the person operating that robot obviously needs to be a surgeon. Okay. Now, I'm not letting anybody do surgery on me just because they got a robot. So the Swing Machine Plus and the other tools, then more than 70 of them, please understand, they are trading assisted robots. Okay. So a person who has no trading skill or has their mind made up on what they think the trading is and what they want to do, and if they got a whole bunch of baggage of crap that doesn't work, or they spend all their time rather than learning the technique and how we go about trading and trying to, reverse engineer or whatever, they're just not going to do well. Right. And that doesn't usually happen. So you just kind of have to purge yourself, purge your mind of a lot of stuff, a lot of crap, and then just kind of settle back and let us help you clear out the fog. When we started, Stock Market Caddy didn't come out of the ground until 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And it was really just by accident. Susan and I had been doing this now since the early 2000s, which, by the way, I never went back. My 6-month sabbatical turned out to be the end. I didn't know that at the time. I never went back into the surgical suite. Kind of sad about that, at the time. But we've lived our lives challenging us and doing a lot of different things. It was great. I do miss it. But I don't miss the travel. I don't miss the bosses. I don't miss, other parts of it, but I never went back. And what we did was we built an office set up for Susan so that she had all of her tools and I had all of mine. We experimented with joint trading and stuff. That didn't really work out so well. Susie struggled a little bit with risk. So that helped us expand and develop other tools, which we have. And we got through it. And so we don't interfere. And everyone's got their own trading style. Susan has hers. I have mine. You would have yours. Our members each have theirs. They know mine. I kind of know theirs. And that's how it came to be. And then I just never went back. And in 2011, we were watching, maybe the movie had been out, but we were seeing it for the first time, the movie Bag of Ants. And I like to play golf. I like to, by the way, trading for us is tertiary to our life. It may seem like it's my entire life because I'm here all the time, but see, I love doing this and I love teaching, right? So when I spent my career, by the way, doing what I was doing the surgery thing, I was teaching surgeons, right, how to do something new. So I enjoyed that part of it. And I taught other new folks that would come in. And so I did a lot of that. And I really, really enjoyed that. In fact, and I can say this, there was a time when J&J wanted me to head up one of their training departments. And I chose not to do that because I didn't want to leave Florida. But that's another story. So I enjoy teaching folks. And I just find it interesting. So I digress. But in 2011, before Twitter, certainly YouTube is doing its thing. We didn't have Stock Market Caddy. And we're watching the movie Bag of Ants, and there's a scene in Bag of Ants that really, really kind of struck me. And I love golf, by the way, and I love fly fishing and stuff. So I guess, trading, I'm not one of those that says, you got to live, breathe, trade, right? I don't. I think it should be limited. a few hours a day, or so. But we were watching the scene, and there's a scene in Bag of Ants. If you haven't seen it, you like golf. It's a good movie, inspirational. And in the golfer, the primary person, Matt Damon, the ball goes into the woods, and he bends over, and you hear this pounding, like he's in a war zone. And he bends over, and he's starting to tremble, and you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know, like, is he going to just pick up the ball and quit? Is he's just a shell. He's shattered. He's kind of like like a post-traumatic stress. And it really, that scene just really, really gripped me, because you see, I can talk now, but what we did was not really that easy at the time. There was no Twitter. There wasn't anybody else doing this. There was everybody telling us not to do it, including the people we fired. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. You can't do it. You can't do it. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. Oh God, um, thank God I didn't listen to them. But boy, there were times when I said to Susan, boy, Susie, did we do the right thing? There were some times, because we didn't have everything we were still trying to figure things out. And Susan never wavered. Thank God, love her. Never wavered. Never. Said, Donnie, no. I mean, she was just rock strong, never, never wavered. And just said, Donnie, failure is not an option here. And we're not going back, Don. We're not, come hell or high, we're not going back. So that was really, really good. I used too much leverage in the beginning, a lot of things I didn't understand. And we share those lessons, by the way, in the Q School, in a video format. But it isn't just video. I spend 3 weeks with a person, virtually every day, trying to hone and help their trading personality. So we're watching that scene, and I paused the video, and I just had a thought. I said, geez, Susie, and I was thinking about him bending over and getting ready to quit. I thought, boy, that's kind of where I was sometimes, on our trading, and we kind of got through it. And so as the movie evolved, I paused it a couple more times. So he was like, you really kind of interrupting the flow of the movie, Don. And I said, but I stopped it, and I said, and I wrote it down on a napkin. I still got it. I said, I have this idea. I'm wondering, Susie, are there people out there like us who would like to be able to do this? And nobody's doing what we're doing. Nobody's doing it. Maybe we could help them. Maybe we could teach them. And she listened. And so I sketched it out. And I named it. We come up. I right then I said it's like something like a stock market caddy. And so when the movie was over, I said, Susie, I'm gonna make a website. And so the website, by the way, is homegrown. We did everything ourselves. All the programs are ours. The website is ours. Everything is homegrown. I didn't hire. We had to learn. So it took some time. So be gentle on us. If the website doesn't look like everybody else's website. And we've revised it twice, but and there are still things I want to do. So I really had a blast doing that, right? But Susan's comment was, well, Don, we can do this, provided two or three things. But one is, you can do it, but it cannot take away from us. It cannot take away from our trading. And we'll make an investment in it. It'll go slow, but after 5 or 6 months, Don, stock market caddy's got to be operating in the black, right? Because you're a business person. I'm like, okay, I think so. We didn't have any members. I didn't even know. I'm like, okay, fine, that's cool. Now, what I did know, and I don't know if I said this to Susan, but I did know this to be the case, and I did think about this, and it has come to pass, that when you teach a person something, including a surgeon or another person that's going to be teaching surgeons, they see things with fresh eyes. They see things with different perspectives. They ask questions that you may not be thinking about or ever thought about. So I always found, and I trained a lot of people to do that other gig. a lot. And I always learned a ton from them. I really did, about a lot of different things sometimes, beyond surgery. So I said, because the way we're trading, I said, Susie, it is pretty lonely. I'm not out, mixing it up with everybody, and I'm not traveling and everything. It's just us. And it's just so robotic and so routine. And, golf is fine to play golf, but how much golf can we play? And I don't want to lose contact with people, but I'd like to be around people that are like to do this. And it's turned out to be just that. It really has. So that's how it came to be. I didn't expect to go there. I'm happy to answer any questions about, the trading and, anything you might have, but that's where it came from. Now, we don't advertise. We don't. I do upload the YouTube because I like making the videos. They're kind of fun. It creates a little bit of awareness, but we don't pay to advertise. And so if somehow, some way you found us, Tina comes in all the time. She's heard the story probably 100 times now. You know, we realize, folks are hearing and seeing us for the first time. And, it's probably a little bit of a miracle that you found us. From a trading standpoint, we do everything empirically. Everything is mechanical robotic. If I'll leave you with this, if there are 4 types of trades, mean regression, Josh, certainly, right? Counter trade, like, so trend follow long, trend follow short, counter trend, counter trend. Critically important, no matter what you're trading, point and figure, line break, candlestick, you must know what type of trade you're putting on. You must know, because the expectations are entirely different. Statistically, mathematically, they just are. And anxiety and stress comes from expectations that are not real, or expectations that you just don't know what to expect, right? I equate, this is not a riskless environment, but we try to mitigate risk. I was discussing with one of our newest members and said, we're PADI certified. If you go down 100 feet scuba dive and you've never been PADI certified, you haven't gone through the classes and you haven't been introduced, you're probably going to be pretty anxious and probably not a very good idea. Not a good idea. But how many people come into the futures market, come into the options market, and stop pushing paper around and are anxious and nervous and angry and mad and all that stuff? Dangerous, very dangerous. Hurt themselves. So when you can get trained and learn how to do something, you can have a sense of expectations and reduce that stress. And that's what we try to do. In addition to the 4 types of trade, there are 4 styles of trading, only 4. Discretionary. I think this, I think that, I heard this, I heard that. Some guy is sending me some tips on options. Some guy is tipping this, tipping that. And I pick some trades, and I think that does not, most people will live and die at discretionary trading. They live and die right there. It is important that you have good acquired trading skill, discretionary trading skill. But if you're going to trade as a business, which is what we're teaching, that's not going to work. It isn't. What we try to do is initially make sure that the person has good discretionary trading skill. If they don't, we're going to help them develop it. Then we're going to move, and this takes a few weeks. Then we're going to move them to becoming a mechanical trader. Then we're going to move them to becoming a robotic trader. And then they're going to work on that in their craft. And it takes months and years to then become what we call a robotic hedger. And that just takes time. And that's what we do. And that's who we are. So I'm happy to answer any questions. This market is pretty choppy right now. So if anybody comes in on YouTube and is, looking for a magic trade to make their $275 or whatever, you're on delay, and that's not here. We're not here trying to prove anything or prove swing machine. We can trade this fully robotic. fully robotic. The machine can be putting them in. You could be intervening. There's a whole host of things there. But that's not what we're doing here. We're not, and I'm not making any claims whatsoever that or recommendations to buy or sell anything, and we're not making any claims whatsoever that if you make an investment in these golf clubs, that you are going to be just this phenomenal golfer. And you don't have to learn your stance and your grip and your practice or anything else. All you have to do is just swing this magical golf club, and you're just gonna, make 200 grand a year. I'm not saying that. I'm not. But, if you continue and you have a passion like we do, and our other members, they do, you're probably going to do, can't say definitively, but you're probably going to do very well. So I've bent everybody's ear. I didn't expect to say all that. But you know what? It's when you're teaching and introducing people, it's always exciting. And it's also kind of humbling, right? It forces me to even slow down my own living, my own trading, and think about other people, not about me, not about Susan, not about us. Get outside. Think about what other people are going through, what they're doing. It's I think I like doing that, and I can say, and I can feel proud of what we've done and what we've built. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to clam down and we'll watch. Any questions, you let us know. We may have lost Josh, maybe not. I love the name. The person asked the question about or posted mean regression. Josh Cousteau. Remember Jacques Cousteau? I used to love watching that show as a kid. They come on like Wednesday night, school night, 8:00, watch Jacques Cousteau, the Calypso. Now, for the benefit of the folks that are watching and passing through on YouTube, we're going to let this run until about 3:00, another 15 minutes, and then we'll need to shut YouTube down. But you're always welcome to send us an email. If you see this video afterwards or you want to give us a call, you're always welcome to. And for our members that are here, if you have any questions, you can always want to maintain privacy for everybody. So we have members that are patched in, not through YouTube. They patch in through Zoom. They can always send me a direct question, even during here if they choose to. But after 3, we'll be signing off on YouTube, and it'll be just for our members. It'll be just me and us. And, most days, we're not running a trading room per se. So the Zoom is really is quiet most of the time. It's just a place where our members who primarily it's our annual members who have these tools that they know that if they need to reach me on something, they know where I am. So we're here, so they can patch in, after the Q school, if it's, 6 weeks later or a couple of weeks later, some patch in every day, some don't. They just got too much on their plate, but they know if they run into something and they get a question, they can just patch in and, they're going to be able to find us. So it's not like we disappear. So the market is very, very choppy right now, as you can see. And if folks on YouTube have questions about futures, happy to. There's a reason why we trade futures, a big reason, and it's for one is the liquidity. The difference between the bid and the ask is very, very tight, especially during normal session hours. So it's very tight. We want to be able to move in and move out and not have to struggle with liquidity. Options, well, you got to be careful that you don't trade options that are illiquid, right? And so that liquidity enables us to trade, rather frequently if we choose to, and be able to again get in and get out within a tick or two. That can be tough to do with options. Futures are not do not have theta decay. There's no time decay as there is with options. And there's no implied volatility, but it's not priced into the futures contract as it is with options, right? So with options, you must get the direction right. You must get the implied volatility right, so you don't overpay or get paid too little, depending if you're buying or selling the option. And you got to deal with the time decay. And you have limited hours, and you have limited liquidity. Futures, we have liquidity. We just got to get the direction right. We don't have to worry about implied volatility. We don't have to worry about theta decay. And there are also, some tax advantages. So they're just beautiful. Now, there could be a correlation to this. How many people trade futures? Of all the traders, less than 10%. Why is that? I have no friggin' idea. I just don't. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. It just doesn't. Do we trade options? Yes, we do. Do we have tools for options? Yes, we do. Yep. We're working on a radar right now that will tell our members on a particular stock what would be the best structure of the option. Should it be a call credit spread? Should it be a put spread? Should it be a debit spread? It's shocking to me that we have folks that call and will say they've been trading for 4 or 5 years, and they have absolutely no idea how options are priced. They really don't, and they just wonder like why they've lost money or why they're just, they're playing options. Options are difficult, but are fine. They have their place. I think futures are much better, but more suited for robotic trading, very much suited for that. But options, they just, I would equate it maybe to a game of chess. But I think most of the people a lot of people that we hear from, they're trading options as if they're playing checkers. And I'm sorry, it's just lazy. As kids, we learn how to play checkers. You cannot sit down at a chess table and play checkers. Not with me. Okay. So the first thing you need to do if you want to learn how to play chess is you need to learn the game and ideally find a mentor, but you have to learn how the pieces move. Right. And there's a whole, it's a whole nother level. Too many people are trying to, you know, just take a shortcut, trying to jump the shark, and they just want to buy call options. Well, good luck with that. That's options are much, much more than that. Much, much more that you can do. But like everything, so we talk about being diversified. Diversified, not in terms of the Jim Cramer diversification. And when he does that stupid thing, am I diversified? And he anoints them. It's just an absolute ass clown. We talk about diversification in terms of how you go about trading. Can you buy and sell stock, or do you just buy stock? You don't know how to short stock. Do you know your way around options, and do you know your way around futures? Can help you. Okay, we got 7 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes left. So you're on a little bit of a delay. If you have any questions, feel free to post. The short side of the market has not let go since 11:30. It's been short really the whole time. We had a little bit of chop, but there was no opportunity for a trend to get long. And this trade is up some 1200, 1200, 700, 1800, 670. A person would want to 10 minutes ago, I didn't even, I wasn't handing it out, but 10 minutes ago would have been a decent trade on the 1 minute to do what? To get short in the direction of the 5 at 246, just 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago here, 11 minutes. They all pretty much move at the same time. Markets have been commoditized. Stocks are a distraction. We today we were running a family account. It was small, micro. And as an example, you get to choose not just the market, the program, but you also get to choose the amount of leverage. So we traded a micro. I haven't scalped it. I just ran it. It's done $352 for the day. Ran the exact same market, the exact same strategy, with the profit targets expanded to reflect the additional leverage, with a mini contract for Susan. And that did over $3,500, as you would expect. That's 10 times. We cannot control what the market does, but there are a lot of things that we can control. And we try to make everybody aware, especially during our Q school, what those things are. You've got to be aware. The first stage of learning anything is becoming aware of something you don't know. And it's okay. There's so much I don't know. That's what keeps life interesting, right? It's like, what am I going to learn today? Not just about trading, but about other things. I like to learn, always have. So, but you've got to, open yourself up for that. "15 minutes, this would have been in the direction." So what happens is, in this instance, I'll get a little check mark here. Let me see if I can do this here. I'll get a little arrow. We ask our members to look at the 5-minute. Someone had come in, they would have said the 5-minute on the ES is what? Is short. It went short at 11:30. So the 1-minute trades that went long in the beginning, those are counters, we would have waved them off. This little trade is in the direction of that. It's up $8,700. There's a little patch of buying in there. It may dissipate, so we ask them to try in the beginning to be patient and not to trade the money and try to stay in the trade. But if they see a technical reason on the swing machine, later it will be other systems that if they want to go ahead and take their money, go ahead and take it. And they got their trade off. Here in the NQ, basically the same thing, went off at 12:10. NQ is the crazy aunt in the basement. It's a little different than the ES. 17 minutes ago, take that trade in the direction, and it's up $400. Now, I haven't been watching it that intently. You can only watch basically one market at a time. Here is the Dow. And here is this one right here. Same thing. Now, I generally, you see short re-entries. Usually I just take the first short and I don't mess with the re-entries. So I'm going to undo all those arrows. They're a little messy, but there is a technique and there's a little learning curve. Ultimately, these tools can be, or this approach can be programmed, mechanical, robotic, but you can still intervene. But you're not putting necessarily the trades on. You're just taking profits. The machine is putting them in. The machine is handling profits. The machine is handling losses. But yes, you could come in and ideally you just take the profit. It's a little bit different, a lot less stressful. But that has to be learned. You can't use, you cannot get into a Cessna plane and just fly it because it has an autopilot. Not a good idea. These trading robots are meant for the person who has good acquired trading skill, understands what the game is, what the objective is. In their hands, it's like, it's a beautiful thing. Somebody else who doesn't understand that they need to have acquired trading skill, they just want to jump the shark. I get it all the time. I get these emails. They're just, it's like you can't have explored our website, but they'll say, oh, I saw you, using that HFT program. Can I buy that? And I cringe because I know, and then when they don't know what they don't know. And worse than that, sometimes they think they know or adamant about what they know. They just know enough to be, the so-called enough to be dangerous. And, you try to fly a plane like that. Did you hear about that tragic kid? Oh my God. He, up in Georgia, took a date on a short little Cessna to some little airport. I think he rented the plane or so. I don't even know. I don't think he flew it. Couldn't have been. And to a restaurant. They got out of the plane. She walks to the back. He doesn't see the propeller in the front of the plane because it's still twirling, and walks right into it, dead. Oh God. So it looks easy. I'm going to trade. One of the things that you'll learn very, very quickly. No one trade is going to make you retire. And if you are trading in that size and think that one trade is going to make you retire, then there's one trade that's going to put you in the poorhouse. Entirely possible. And it's just probably a matter of time. You'll walk in front of a propeller. So once you realize that if you're trading properly, no one trade is going to put you out of business. No one trade is going to retire you. Well, then now you got to be able to put trades together, and you got to be able to trade successfully over time. The people who are aping AMC, they're gone. The people who are, doing the game stunk, they're gone. The people that were doing Bitcoin and laser eyes, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone. I would send them, sometimes emails, and they would, curse me and well, whatever. They're gone. We're still here. We're still doing our thing. There'll be more. There always is. Wall Street is incredible at that. It's almost like a civil war. They just keep coming. They take your bread. Not our bread. That ain't happening. Not the bread of our members. That's not happening. Nope. All right. It's 3:00. We got to get into the shed here, wrap up. It's been a great day, great round. Hope you guys had a great one. Tina, good to see you. And anyone's got any questions, either now or later or passing through on YouTube, you're welcome to give us a call. I'm Bag of Don, Stock Market Caddy, 813-758-8263. More valuable than any one of our trading tools is the education to use these tools. Is the education transferable? Sure it is. It is. No question about it. But our tools can save you a tremendous amount of time and are just very, very good. Good luck, everybody. Thanks.